Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. We're continuing watching Marvel's What If series. It's episode 6, What If Killmonger Saved Tony Stark? This show's Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, it's Prague.
I am Killmonger? Nope, this is DeLorean Wolfgang.
That's another guy.
That's
Crossing
another
the
guy.
streams.
Hey,
Nice.
crossing the streams right there. Nice. I like. Yeah, you brought that up. Nice.
Well done. Well done.
Very
Here
well
we are.
done. Yes. Here we are for
Episode
another
6.
episode.
Of What If.
What if, man? What if? What did you? Okay, should we just jump right in? What did you guys think of this episode?
I don't usually go first, so maybe I should go first this time.
There you go. Really taking initiative.
So, for those of you who are new to the show, what we do at the beginning of the show is we talk about these spoiler-free reactions so that you can listen to this and decide if you want to watch it or not. But we're not going to spoil anything quite yet. So this is just our takes of what we thought of the episode. For me, I thought the premise was very intriguing because I like the idea of knowing what would happen if, say, the villain won. Like, what if they attained their goals? What would happen? So I found the whole premise quite intriguing. I'm a big fan of Wakanda, the place, the setting. And I really enjoy Killmonger as a character and Michael B. Jordan as an actor. And they brought it back like almost everybody for the voice cast, except for Tony Stark. So that was pretty impressive as well. But I was bored. I was bored. Like, I really wish I wasn't, because there's moments in it that were like genuinely kind of exciting and fun, but like I was surprised how much I just kind of like drifted off and forgot that I was watching it and would have to pull my head back. It's like, it's surprising because it's such an interesting idea for me. I don't know. I don't know what it was about it, but that was just me. I don't think it was a bad episode necessarily. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. That's my take.
I am going to echo just about everything you said, because I think Michael B. Jordan is an amazing actor, and I could watch him do anything. That guy is amazing.
And he even looks great animated.
Yes,
Like, yeah.
exactly. He looks exactly, I mean, whoever animated him perfectly, unlike Tony Stark, which was animated very poorly.
Yeah.
Anyways, but Michael B. Jordan and then Killmonger, dude, Killmonger is such a cool character, man. He's just cool all around everything. I don't know. I really like him. But same with me. I found myself bored. I was bored out of my mind watching this. I was like, oh, come on. Something bigger happened, please. And it just never truly did. I mean, I felt like I was also watching a M. Night Shyamalan What If, because there were twisty turnies everywhere.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if I got that vibe, but okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, Trevor.
So, for me, I feel like I really like the premise. I feel like it's the closest to episode 2, with the idea of having one single what if change entire character arcs and situations and experiences for the Marvel Universe. And about halfway through, I'm like, okay, I think this is going to be my second favorite episode. And then that second half, time just went by. And then all of a sudden, they were over. And I really liked the end. I liked the last 2 or so minutes of it. But that part in between, I don't really remember what happened. There was all kinds of pretty flash and colors on screen. I liked the concepts, but it fell flat. I don't know why, because it had all the ingredients not to fall flat.
Yes.
That's what was so weird.
This is a what if mystery of an episode. Let's put it that way. Because I was on board too that first half. And all right, this could be good.
Yeah,
could be
it's
interesting.
crazy, man. Because and you said it perfectly. It had every ingredient. Everything was there to make an amazing episode, and it just was like almost tone deaf. Like there was nothing that really wanted to keep you engaged. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want. There's more I can talk about,
Emotions.
but I feel like I'll spoil stuff. So I don't think I
Right.
should talk too much more about that. But
So everyone,
Like, would you-
let us know what you think.
yeah, let us know if you think it was a bad episode, a good episode, or maybe it was just boring but good.
Let us know if
feel
we're
like-
wrong.
A good example, though, it's kind of like it's super well made. Everything is well done. It's like Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is the best thing that Pixar's made from a structural standpoint, but the movie itself doesn't. You don't remember anything that happened. You were there for an hour and a half, and then you leave, and
Right.
you could care less anything. That's exactly how this episode was. Structurally, the voice acting, the premise, the animation style, everything is just so spot on. And then there's no heart or soul to it, because
Yeah.
that's really what you remember.
Yeah, I think if they had utilized, I'm going to spoil stuff. Never mind. Yes, the heart and soul.
Heart
Yeah.
and soul.
We'll get
No,
to
that is-
spoilers
that
soon,
is.
everyone.
But before we do,
yes, in the meantime, you can listen to all of our episodes over at crossthestreamsmedia.com. You will
okay.
also be able to find links to all of our social medias over there, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Now, I apologize because, again, I have been lacking on the social media channels like really bad. So I apologize to everybody out there who follows us on Instagram and Facebook. But Twitter, we're pretty active. So make sure to follow us over on Twitter at Secondary Heroes. Like I said, on Cross the Streams Media, you can listen to all of our episodes. You can also listen to a bunch of sister episodes or sister shows like The Dorksman, the Movie Gap podcast, 3 Beers and a Mic, Dan Aykroyd podcast, Front Row Negative, Burn Appetit, and so many more. I'm glad that I've got those written down because I would forget. Oh, that's right, STS guys. They're on there too, which is pretty cool. Anyways, and all of that is at crossthestreamsmedia.com. So please check it out there. And if you don't go to crossthestreamsmedia.com, we are at Secondary Heroes everywhere. But mainly YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube because honestly, again, I begged last time. I'm begging again. Hit that like button, man. It's crazy what happens. We had an episode where people were hitting like all the time, and then all of a sudden the episode blew up. It was one of our best episodes. It was very fun stuff. Prog, you weren't there.
Thank you for that. I was not there.
Anyways, just remember, we do this weekly. We do this every week for nothing, just to chit chat, and you guys listen. And so, in a way, this is all free for you, and it's priceless to us, especially when you hit that like button.
Ooh,
awesome. So it's spoiler time, and then we're going to spoil episode 6 extensively now. And then after that, since this is a whole Killmonger episode and the idea of what if the villain won, we're going to also talk about what if other villains won across different movies and TV shows beyond just the Marvel universe. So stay tuned for that as well.
Very nice. All right. Let's dive into this episode.
Yeah, where do we start?
Yeah, Prague, it sounds like you had a point, so by all
Did
means.
I have a point? No, I think the point was one that you made, which is the heart and soul. I think anytime if you're going to have the villain win in an episode, I think it's even different than having the Doctor Strange episode where he kind of destroyed the universe. You still had heart in that episode because it's about his relationship. Whereas this, like you didn't really have the heart because it felt like if it were going to be the heart, if anybody was going to be, it was going to be Pepper. And it felt like she was sidelined until the very end of the episode. I mean, she was there, but she kept being pushed away by everybody, which makes sense. That's kind of like the idea. But I felt like there should have been more there, either to her relationship with Tony, or maybe she was more involved with Killmonger in some way. I don't know. But there was no heart. So I didn't feel compelled to care as much about anything that happened, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I thought for me, it was too easy for Killmonger. It seemed like he never had any trials or tribulations, and by one change in his life, everything came his way. He didn't have to contend with anything.
Sure. Yeah, like you would think that like Tony would have like made the mistake, made a mistake of any kind, really, by trying to do something for the greater good, which I guess he was, but didn't really feel that way. I felt like, maybe his ambition for technology, surpassed his reason for something else. I don't know.
But he also didn't go through what he did in the first movie. What was it, Afghanistan?
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of what made him the hero, was that whole situation being captured. Like, that's what made him Iron Man.
Right. It gave him a whole different perspective. And because he was rescued, he didn't have that same perspective.
Right.
But he
So
still has the same arrogance. I mean, it's a fun what if of Tony Stark more than it is Killmonger. To the idea that that one cave sequence, you take that out. So not only does he lose becoming a hero, but he's also not as kind of jaded to the world. So he's still
Okay.
his
Yeah.
same self, because that showed him really how dark everything is when he got captured and everything,
Sure.
and
He's
pretty
like,
much thought he was going to
here's
die.
what my tech is doing to the world.
Yeah. This, he's kind of
Wow.
aware of it, but he still kind of passes it off because, again,
Right.
he's still removed from all of it because he found someone else to be his bodyguard and savior. And so he's still removed from everything.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So he can still be naive and be tricked and fooled and still taken advantage of by somebody.
Which takes away from what a lot of people actually love about Tony Stark's character. You know, now we're just watching
Right.
the rich kid who's got a new best friend, run
Mhm.
around. That's about it.
It's a fun what if for Tony's character. It's just the movie keeps going, or the show keeps going.
Yeah.
Right. And even though it was only like a 30-minute episode, it's still like, I don't
It
know.
felt like the longest one.
It did. It felt
That's right.
long and drawn out, but at the same time, it felt I don't know.
I
It
think
was
I
just
also
such a weird one.
I kept wondering when the shoe was going to drop, and it just never did for them until like the very, very, very end of the episode. It was like, when are people going to figure out Killmonger? And they just don't. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening in this
And
episode?
we knew what was going to happen. I think that's
Yeah.
why it's not exciting or interesting. Like,
No.
you know exactly how this was going to play out at every step he's always going to take advantage of somebody and double cross them, every single person that he interacts with.
Well,
Yeah,
and
like,
that's
what?
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what if Killmonger didn't have as much opposition? Maybe he was given more of what he wanted. Would he have been as ruthless with his antics? Would he have wanted to, arm everybody? I don't know. I'm more interested in that what if, I think. Because I
Did
felt like in the movie, it was like, oh, I was an outcast. You killed my father. You don't understand what it's like on the outside. Whereas this, I don't know. I feel like they delved into a different what if on that for me.
Did they explain how he was at the site for Tony Stark, or do you think maybe he was a part of that explosions and whatnot? You know what I mean?
No,
To really,
he said it.
oh,
Yeah.
he did.
He explained it because that's why they got Jebediah at the press conference, is because he said that he was doing deep recon and he found out that Jebediah was planning to kill Tony.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So he still used information to leverage his
Of course.
own.
That's his character.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
It worked.
I don't.
Get rid of this villain. So I can be the villain. No, that's what he did. He's like, here, you're the villain? I can't be two villains. Sorry. See ya, buddy.
Well, okay, so I know that we all kind of found this a little boring and whatnot, but was there anything that stood out to you in this episode?
I still had a handful of highlights. Like, I was looking at my
Yeah,
notes. I
there's
have
highlights.
a lot of good
Sure.
highlights. It's just collectively, I think it's the boring nature of we know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, there was
Like,
no
I didn't
big
know how the Star-Lord
twist.
T'Challa episode was going to play out. I had no
Right.
idea. It was just,
Exactly.
I was like, fun. This is all kinds of stuff's happening.
Yep. I felt the same way. Like, to your point, Alice, I did not see any kind of Shyamalan twist at all. Like, I was waiting for that to happen, and it just never did.
I think when I said that, I mean, like, I wasn't expecting Killmonger to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Double cross as much as he did, because I felt like he
Okay.
double crossed multiple times, and I think M. Night Shyamalan was probably the wrong go-to
Gotcha.
there.
Okay. That's right.
But like, you know what I mean, though, right? Like, I don't know. There was a whole lot of twisting, and
From his
I don't
character
know.
standpoint, sure. Yeah, it was always like, oh, I thought you were good. No, you're bad. No, wait, you're good. No, you're bad. No, wait, you're good. No, you're wait.
Right. And I think in the back of my head, I was hoping him to be a good guy in this, because that would have been a what if Killmonger's a good guy, but that he still tried to do exactly what he did in the first in Black Panther.
Sure.
He
I mean,
still wanted to take over Wakanda regardless.
It's the whole Magneto thing. It's like, we get what you're after. Like what you're after is for good reasons. You know, you want justice for your people, but you're going about it the wrong way, but with violence. It's the same kind of scenario. You can't do it that way. There's diplomacy and other ways to achieve justice. Then
Yeah, so in terms of highlights, I think the very end where we see T'Challa in the kind of spirit realm, the afterworld connect with just knowing Chadwick Boseman what actually happened to him, and that got to me. That was an emotional
that was good. That was
sequence.
a good scene.
Yeah, and just saying you can't end suffering by causing more suffering.
Exactly.
It's simple and straight to the point, and Killmonger's never going to figure that out.
Nope.
And he asked,
Sadly.
he asked him, you know, is it worth it? And didn't someone ask Thanos that same thing?
Yeah, his
Yeah,
daughter.
young Gamora. What did
Yeah.
it cost?
Yeah,
Everything.
Kind of the same thing here, but yeah, that was really nice scene. I love those scenes out there in the spirit realm.
Yeah.
I just like Wakanda, that whole aspect, the sounds, the sound design, everything. The one thing I did note in this, the bright color scenes, I kind of wished that the original Black Panther film, like those fight scenes would have happened like at night or at dusk or something, because then you could have had like certain colors be illuminated in the sunset, or like have different neon lights come alive in the fight scenes, rather than have it be all like washed out in the CGI sunlight.
Kind of like the Killmonger and Black Panther fight at the end of the movie, where it was all dark and it looked terrible.
Well, no, I mean, you can do better on the battlefield.
that was the worst CGI that Marvel's ever done.
So bad.
The way those battle droids look like coming out in the dust in the dark, like that was a cool kind of effect. Like if they did something like that.
The bad palette in Infinity War, that fight in Wakanda is just, that's the one.
Well, speaking of those androids, what did you guys think of the androids?
I was cool to see them come back, I guess, because there's something I totally forgot about that they did in Iron Man. Said, oh yeah, that was his whole thing. Was the whole
that was Iron Man 2, wasn't it?
1, 2.
Yeah,
it was Iron Man 2.
Yeah, 2. Whatever which one it was. But anyways, it was nice to see them come back. And it definitely brings up that dilemma of like, you know, is it humane to have drones because then you're sending in, you know, something that isn't alive to kill people, kind of thing. I thought they would have touched on that more too. There's a lot of stuff they brought up they didn't really expand on, which they could have.
Speaking of the drone, I liked when they first tested it and it failed. When he had the camera, it was just like the first Iron Man where he fails. It was just so quick and sudden, the failure. That was a really good highlight. Yeah. And then in terms of the actual fighting sequence, I like that Angela Bassett's Queen character went out and fought. I wanted to see that in the actual films.
Yeah, this is when she did the 2-spear thing and she like ripped him open. I'm like, oh, his choice.
Well, the cool thing about it is like that's the one thing about Wakanda that's really neat is that your royalty, it doesn't matter if they're royalty or not. They're still fighting for you. They're fighting with you. They're fighting with you on the battlefield. They're not hanging out back watching anything. They're in there, man. And I dig that. I think that's really cool. And I think, who was it? I think Thor's parents did the same thing, but then again, Thor's parents was Odin, and
yeah, they're pretty OP.
Sure. Yeah, kind of in a way. Now, I will say that I was kind of, I was a little, timeline frame. The first Iron Man was back in 2008. I want to say, 2008.
Sure.
So, but here's my problem is we're looking at 2008 Tony Stark. In 2008, was Killmonger that old already? Like it was almost like they had 2018 Killmonger in a 2008 movie. You know what I mean?
Where timey-wimey stuff. I don't know.
and I think that was one thing that kind of bothered me in the back of my head. I'm like, wait a second, he shouldn't be that old. Because you look and see how young Shuri is.
Right.
She's a little kid.
Yeah, she's not like an older woman like she was. No, well, not old woman, but yeah, she's not older like she was in the movies.
Right.
So yeah.
So if they age everybody down to fit in the Tony Stark timeline, then Killmonger should have also been aged down. He should have been like maybe 18.
Right.
and
still
not
be
had
drafted, I don't know.
1,000 kills on him.
True.
Well, yeah, but
True.
I mean, his kills in Black Panther, I mean, that was gained over years and years and years of time. That's
Right.
not like, yeah, and this is me getting hung up on
No, but my
silly
only
things.
caveat for that is the original Black Panther film. It's kind of more of a backstory of Black Panther himself, right? It's not necessarily set
Right.
in the same exact. It came out in like 2016. It doesn't mean it's 2016 MCU time because
That's true, because MCU
is it
like
Black Panther after he introduces himself at Civil War? I guess it is because
Yeah, it
the
is because
dad's
his
already
dad
dead.
has to die. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea how the timeline fits.
Yeah, so that just and like I said, I
Hmm.
know that it's something small, but it's just something that was in the back of my head. I'm thinking,
Sure. It's a good point to make, though.
Yeah,
that shouldn't have been.
if Killmonger's 18, he still isn't as jaded. Or
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. He shouldn't have such a tunnel vision on murdering, I guess.
Yeah, at that point, you haven't already like made all your kills. So you're probably not as dead inside either.
Yeah.
You know. So
Now-
yeah, that would have been more interesting, probably. You know, what if he wasn't? Like, what if he wasn't like dead inside?
Yeah, does Tony
was able-
change him? Like if he
Right.
meets Tony,
Tony
earlier,
has a
does it
heart.
change his path? Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Tony was the one that didn't really change. It was Killmonger. He changed Killmonger. Killmonger uses his tech for good. That's a more interesting one.
That's where I mean, not that it would have been any more interesting. We probably would have been taking this episode going, man, I don't know, that Killmonger episode was boring.
Yep. Most likely.
So one of the things I noticed was a lot of new tech in this episode. What did you guys think of the new tech that they came up with? New old tech, because they still had somewhat ties to the movies still, but
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything new.
well, for instance, the gun that what was it that sends vibrations?
No, that was in the movies.
But
That was in the first one.
that was the little thumb device, though. It wasn't like a gun, was it? Maybe I missed that.
I don't know. I have to remember that film. I thought
Movie.
Jebediah had that weapon. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, Jebediah had the like thumb one where he like came up behind Tony Stark and turned it on, and that paralyzed him.
I don't know. It's
And-
cool though. It was a cool effect, and
Yeah.
didn't realize it would kill people like that. So
Well,
scary.
I did
stuff.
like when Rhodes got killed. I thought that was a fun sequence where he was saying you have to do it the right ways or whatever, and he's like, "Oh no, you could just burn down the whole system."
Yeah.
And then he stabs him. It's always fun to see Rhodes die because he's such an annoyingly unnecessary character. You could kill him in every what if at some
half
point. Like
the characters in Marvel are unnecessary.
if you did like how Willie always dies in Treehouse of Horror. If you did that with Rhodes in every what if, it's just random. I would love that.
Oh man.
Sounds like Kenny from South Park. Every
Oh my
episode.
God, they killed Rhodes. Bastards. But it does call
Awesome.
back that the whole thing of Magneto versus Charles Xavier. Like that's like them talking to each other. It's like, no, we both want the same goal, but we're going about it different ways.
Yep.
There's another way to do this, sir. Don't have to burn everything down.
Now there was one thing that I'm just gonna throw in there.
Okay.
Tony Stark mentions the whiskey that he was drinking and that he spilled. I'm a whiskey guy. I love whiskeys.
Okay.
I like to collect whiskeys. I actually have a real fun collection of whiskeys that I've never opened. But the whiskey that he had in the episode he mentions is a Macallan 1926. I had to look this up. I had to look up what this is. Turns out that this whiskey just hit a world record recently, and it sold for $1.2 million. I found that to be so fascinating that a bottle of whiskey was sold for that much.
Well, it shows how rich he is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
when
good.
Happy says, or Rhodes says, 10 million is a slow Tuesday in Vegas for Tony.
He means it. Yeah, he means
That's
it.
true, man. But yeah, I thought that was kind of a fun little. I had to look it up because I wanted to know more about the whiskey and if
Reminds
there
me of
is any
Charles
whiskey
Widmore.
drinkers.
Nice. Charles Widmore had a fun scene in Lost with that, with whiskey being expensive. Anyways, continue.
So another aspect is right at the end, the Watcher says that heroes inspire others to carry on the fight. And just the idea of Tony reaching Killmonger earlier and changing the entire storyline of the episode fits more with their theme of this episode, rather than inspiring Shuri for 5 seconds. Oh, here it's done. That seems so rushed if that's your overarching moral of your story.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. That's why that's where the heart was missing. I think there wasn't really a connection there. It was like, oh look, I hacked in and I found this information. Oh, okay. I don't know how that fits in the theme, but sure, we'll go with it. Hoorah! But speaking of the Watcher, have you been noticing that with every episode we're seeing more and more of him?
I was literally about to say the same thing.
Like he's more revealed, is more defined. You're seeing more of his character and what he looks like. It's interesting.
I have a feeling that in the next upcoming episodes, he's probably going to step in. Because he's making himself right. He's making himself more and more. And I think I even mentioned this maybe 2 episodes ago where I was noticing that he was becoming more clear and you could kind of see bits more of him. Yep. And this one, it was like he was straight up in the sky. Like if you looked up, you saw
he was like right there.
Yeah.
Like Mufasa there. He's like, all right.
And he sounds like Mufasa.
A little bit.
No. Yeah. Lawrence Fishburne. Anyways.
Lawrence Fishburne is not Mufasa or the Watcher.
He's not Mufasa? Cool. Lawrence Fishburne is not Mufasa? Hold on. Who am I thinking of then? Why did I think that Lawrence Fishburne was Mufasa?
No, we're gonna keep this. This is fantastic.
No, this is terrible. Stop it.
The guy who does Darth Vader, you know James Earl Jones? He has one of the most iconic voices of all time.
Dude, I literally mixed those 2 guys up just now.
The Matrix. Just think about that. That's all it was, right?
I was listening to the Matrix episode earlier. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, nice.
Which, by the way,
I'm sticking to it.
I hated that I missed that episode because I had a lot to say. As I'm listening to that episode of you 2 talk about the Matrix, I'm just driving myself nuts because all I'm doing is screaming now at my radio because I'm like, I should be there. I should be there. No.
Right?
No.
He was so angry that we were so spot on. He's like, ugh.
Oh, I could have been there to affirm them in their ways, their thoughts.
Unbelievable. You know what? I may re-record that episode. We're re-recording that episode. No, I will re-record that episode.
Anyway. But
anywho,
let's go back to the Watcher. So the Watcher is becoming more clear. I think he is. I think something's going to happen where either he's going to step in or be involved somehow. He has died in the comics, so it is possible that something could happen to him.
No, dude, I would hate for him to die in this because
he's not going to die in this, but he might die.
No. But he might be more involved.
Live action.
So yeah, I think he might step in somehow. That'd be kind of fun. I'd love to see that. Like, what would cause them to do that?
Right. What would be so major to have him actually step in? I can't think of anything because he never stepped in for anything else.
He watched Sylvie kill Kang, so he's like,
whatever. It's like, well.
You watched Thanos.
Another multiverse before. Yeah. So he just is gonna allow it, and that's fine. But that was
I'll allow it.
I don't think there was anything else that really stood out to me, honestly.
The only other part is the animation of Black Panther fighting. I kind of want just a TV show of Black Panther week to week taking out villains and stuff, because I was thinking about Black Panther's character arc, and he's the best in Civil War, and he gets essentially weaker and weaker in abilities every time we see him in every type of films, whether it's a collaboration or his own standalone film. It's like, I just want to see peak Black Panther going and doing stuff.
Yeah, they kind of nerfed him a bit. So he can tear apart walls and stuff. Like, oh my god, it'd be great. Tear through people if you wanted to. I know.
Yeah, they don't really show a lot of that type of stuff ever. But you know what? They're starting to get a little bit more risky with Marvel. You know, who knows? Maybe later on down the road, let's hope for some R ratings on some of their movies.
Yeah, we could. We'll see what happens. But yeah, to your point, Trevor, I agree. It would be kind of cool to see more of that.
So that's
what we get.
episode 6.
Yeah.
What if Killmonger
Woohoo!
rescued Tony Stark? I think they
Yay.
could have done a better scenario.
Yeah. All right, let's do our
But-
what ifs.
What if the villain won in other different movies and series and everything that isn't some other series that we already talked about? So, who wants to go first?
Oh,
Not it.
jeez.
Yeah.
No, I already went first for the.
I
for
went
my
first
thing.
last week. Is this what's going to happen? We're just going to argue every episode now?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what,
What we do every
Trevor?
week.
Trevor's turn to go first.
I'll go first because
Yeah,
I didn't
boy.
have one. So this should be really fun. So, no, the one I came up with, it took me a while just because there was a couple different choices and you have to have the stakes for it to matter. It's not like, what if Jaws never got killed or anything? He just kept eating people. That's not fun or anything. So
Yeah,
you have to go. But no, it's like the whole like, oh, what if Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy just kept killing people over? Well, they have movies where they do just keep killing people, and it's always small in scope. They need to step their game up and like
Great.
take over the world or something.
Now I
But-
need to rewrite my script. Thank you.
So I had to think of it, and the one that I thought of was The Incredibles and Syndrome, just because he has such the best premise of what if everyone was special. And I think it would be really fun where the Incredibles don't save the day, and so they don't stand out. They're not particularly incredible, and you have this whole society of superpowered people that get their own. They all manifest different superpowers, just like X-Men or any type of thing like that. So you have this whole world, this whole Pixar world, where all these people have all kinds of special abilities. It sounds like a whole future Pixar film where they could go crazy with all kinds of people. It'd be much more exciting than Incredibles 2 or the classic, oh, here's some superheroes
For
against
sure.
the same villains kind of thing that's been played out.
I like that.
Or that sounds like My Hero Academia. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I
also
know
the
it
plot
is.
of the first X-Men film, so
Yep.
there's that. But they never come to fruition. I mean, I guess they do in My Hero. I haven't watched that show. I never will.
Oh.
But it sounds
Why?
like that's what's going to happen. Probably the same reason why your wife doesn't. You said
What?
screaming. The screaming.
Oh, well, yeah. I thought you were trying to be rude. I'm like,
No.
where are you going with this, Prog?
I don't know
Because
where he was
I
going
agree.
either.
this is gonna be real interesting here in a second there, brother. But no, it's not that it's a lot of screaming. But anyways, actually that comes up with a good question. What if the bad guys were winning in My Hero Academia? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Syndrome right now.
But no, it's a good premise. I like that idea because then you will have some villains in that mix too. It's not like everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm just going to use my powers for good. You're going to have chaos. It's going to be chaos everywhere.
Oh,
And then
man.
what do the Incredibles do? Like, do they have to stand up and like lead the good guys? You know, like they're not standing out anymore, but maybe they can.
Yeah, that's the question: is who then
Right.
stands out in that universe? Because we know of all these superheroes that Syndrome's gotten rid of. He's got like there's a ton that he's just gotten rid of, but now everyone in the population is special in some form, so they're all not special. So again, it does have that whole My Hero Academia vibe where everyone has some kind of ability. It's weirder to not.
I will say to the crowd, if you haven't watched My Hero Academia, definitely give it a try because it is a great
Oh.
premise. It's
Can't do
exactly,
it. No, can't do My Hero just because it's never
It's-
going to end. Can't do it.
It's never, and that's okay. I just learned that the other day. I thought that I was like coming down to the end, and I'm like, oh man, I only got a few episodes left, and then like 30 more episodes just dropped onto Hulu, and I'm like,
Nice.
wait, now I gotta read.
And just remember that the manga's not done. Like when you have shows like One Piece and Naruto that have been on since like 1997 or 98, and there's 1,000 episodes. My Hero has that whole plan to go. That's why I can't do it. I
Yeah.
like things where I can see the end of the tunnel. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, let's watch this series. There's only 3 seasons. That's fine. I'm game.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I hear you. But at the same time, this is exactly what you're talking about, where people are now born with the powers. And there's people who are, I just so happen to have this power, but I don't want to be a hero. And honestly, I could go rob that guy and nobody would really know. It's, it would
Right.
definitely open up the world to all new bad guys. And would Syndrome now take over as being the good guy and trying to take down these criminals? Like, you know what I'm trying to like.
Because
I love
his
the
goal
idea.
always has been like he's not necessarily a bad guy. He just hates that he got slighted by Mr. Incredible when he was little, and so he wants to make him not special.
Right.
Because he's pretty
Exactly.
brilliant.
Yeah, because
Well-
after that, like, he'd be like, "Oh, work's done." I don't know. What would he do?
Oh,
It would have been a much better Incredibles 2, though, if the Incredibles failed in Incredibles 1.
yeah, but them coming together as a family, it's adorable.
You can still come together as
You
a
can
family.
still fail, too.
Exactly.
Fail as a
Fail
family.
Wow.
That'd be a good TV show title.
Fail as a family.
That's a sitcom right there.
It's called
ABC's
Malcolm
this
in the
fall.
Middle.
TGIF. Nice. Okay, that's a good one. Alex, do you have one?
So I've got two. They're
Nice.
both very
Let's do it.
small and simple. Like, honestly, we kind of
Like
came
me.
up with this last minute, but
Okay.
I'll go for the easier one first.
All right.
What if Biff actually won in Back to the Future? What if
No,
he?
it's-
I could go with this one.
I already thought of that one today, and that's already the plot of the second one, and it's not that interesting. I don't know.
Not that interesting.
I mean, it's fun for the movie, but like, he's pretty dumb. So, it's pretty
I don't
easy.
know. There's a lot of dumb people in power, my friend.
But it's already a what if though. Like that's the second movie is the what if. So
That's
I-
meaningful. So
know.
instead, I have
Yeah?
another one.
okay.
Jack Torrance. What if Jack Torrance actually succeeded in killing his family and he lived? And so now he's stuck in this hotel until spring comes around by himself, pretty much hanging out in this hotel. And now he's got his dead wife and dead child as ghosts hanging out with him, now nagging him even more than he thinks they're already nagging him.
And he can't kill them because they're dead.
And he can't kill him. And so he becomes even more unhinged and more unhinged and more unhinged. And whenever someone finally finds him, who knows what he could do to the hotel when they finally find him and he's in a corner just like.
So
Okay.
I was thinking about this one, too, and
Well, I was too.
Jack Torrance isn't the villain. The hotel's the villain.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's why I was like, what's the success point of the hotel? Because it's still stuck in place. It can't go anywhere.
Yeah, it would
But it
have
just
to
got
find...
2 new souls. It got 2 brand new souls. And then Jack Torrance is going to go drive himself nuts to probably kill himself too. So 3 new souls. This hotel's looking to collect souls.
That's what I'm saying. It is looking to collect souls. It needs to find a reason to bring people back over and over again each spring and summer. How to do that?
How to do
How do you get a caretaker to go crazy but also stable enough to stay on? To your point, maybe he does survive and he chills out a little bit, thaws out in the spring and summer.
I see.
And
what
maybe
you
he's like the groundskeeper chopping at things. He, builds the hedge creatures like he does in the books,
Ooh. Is the book as good as the movie?
Oh, it's better than the movie, personally,
I've
You're asking
other-
a Stephen King fan.
I know.
That's why I'm asking, because Stephen King said that what was it? Stephen King didn't like the movie, but everybody else liked the movie more than the book. I don't know who to go with here, but whatever.
I love
I'm not gonna read the book.
So I keep them as 2 separate entities in my head, so that's fine. Either way.
Well, I like the thought of I don't like the thought of Jack Torrance killing his family, but
I do. They're pretty annoying.
but they're annoying because they heighten the annoyance of them.
Sure.
I mean,
They were annoying when.
She wasn't all that annoying though.
Eh.
What was it?
Are you sure?
Give me 2 examples. Just curious. She goes along with everything he wants. He wants to move to Colorado and live in a secluded hotel for the next 6 months. She's like, okay, we'll do it. For you, we'll do this. She's like, I will do anything for you. Until he's like, I want to kill you. I want to bash your brains in. Then she's like, yeah, you know what? I'm not behind that.
So you proved our point. Yes, they are annoying. Anyways, yeah, so we can kill them. They become ghosts. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what point you're trying to prove here.
Well, no, I want to know what made them annoying. I don't know what made them annoying.
That you literally said it. I don't know. Either way, it was mostly the acting, I think.
Fans, please
Sure.
get on my side here. I feel I
Yeah,
don't.
get on his side, of course. We don't want to kill Wendy. Of course not. Wendy, darling, light of my life. I just want to bash your effing brains
Like, she goes, okay,
in. Okay.
I'm not
So-
in on that.
I never thought of it as Windy Darling, and then it has the whole Peter Pan connection.
Yep.
Oh, weird.
It's a fun line. I love that scene. Anyway, let's move on from The Shining.
Let's move on. So that now comes to you, Prague.
Oh,
Is it going to be
darn.
a Wizard of Oz thing?
How did you know?
Oh my God! Did I really just
I
call
couldn't
it?
think of anything else. Yeah, I couldn't.
Oh my
I
God!
tried hard. So,
You couldn't
bear
have
with.
Shredder defeating the
bear with me.
turtles, or
No, it didn't. This doesn't work. So hear me out, right? So, the Wicked Witch of the West wins because she finds a way to actually successfully kidnap Dorothy, but not the rest, right? She takes them, and she wins because she is able to capture Dorothy and take the slippers back. But the other characters, instead of going to the wizard to get their brains and their heart, and their mind, they go to find Dorothy, and that's how they find the courage. The courage to go up against the witch, and the heart to keep finding Dorothy to make sure we can save her, and the brains to figure out how to trick the witch. And
oh
that's,
my God!
and it's Dorothy is the one who tells them this at the end, not the wizard. It's like, see, you saved me. You had this the whole time.
Prague, you just came up with a better story than Wizard of Oz.
I know. Thanks. You can
Oh
send
my
your.
God! I'm in love with this idea right now.
The reimagining.
Just think
Oh,
how
come
gritty you can make that, though.
See, it's a whole new thing. And then the witch could use like the ruby slippers to her advantage too, now that she has them. So I don't know, do all sorts of crazy things and conjure up all the crazy creatures we never got to see in the films.
But does she survive at the end? Like, I mean, is it going to be a happy ending? Like, what are you envisioning here? Do you want it to be a happy ending?
Probably a happy ending, because technically, like in a lot of his books, like people can't really die in Oz. There's a lot of gray area there, so like, yeah, maybe she lives on as like some like, I don't know, servant or something, or who knows.
A servant? I'm sitting here thinking she would turn into like the mayor of Emerald City or something.
Well, like Once Upon a Time?
But then again, she...
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what happens? Okay.
Well, I mean, the evil queen becomes the mayor. It's the same idea.
It's like the inverse. She's the mayor of the town, and
just like Halloween Town, where the bad guy's the mayor in Halloween Town.
Exactly. There's no new stories.
Man.
Anyways, that was my idea. I can come up with it because honestly, like, there's not a lot of compelling enough villains sometimes that either A, lost, or B, didn't win. Like for me, like all the best villains are the ones that actually have won in the movies that I've seen. That's why I like those movies. There's not too many where like they're complicated and they lose. They're usually like, I just want to win, or I want to take over the world. It's like, that's not really compelling enough to, think of a what if for. But it's Killmonger. It's great,
And that's where I come back to like Thanos. Like, did you feel like Thanos's plan was okay? Like, it kind of helped.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. It's like, well, it didn't help also. So it's like, you didn't think of everything. That's the problem. So
interessante.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of a more ambiguous villain, like in Where the Wild Things Are.
Okay.
The villain isn't, the Wild Things. It's not Max. It's more kind of growing up, but also it's mainly just about growing up. Yeah. And it kind of then ties into Peter Pan and that whole idea as well as age and time. Time is probably the most interesting villain, and then that takes you into dark. And so I didn't want to go down that avenue either. And so then we'll just focus
Did you
on.
just say dark?
I had to
Sure.
get that.
You know, that show on Netflix.
For those playing at home, make sure to mark off your dark. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, age and where the wild things are. Because where the wild things are is only like 20 pages, and there's like one sentence on each page. So it's not the most complex story. You know, it's not like 1,000 pages of setting it up, but it's simple and clear that age. It's like trying to remain a kid, but growing up and dealing with life's problems. That's the ultimate villain.
Right.
The book's not going to resolve that. So what if Max kind of goes full on just feral and doesn't ever, he stays in the little onesie, and you just have this adult version of Max. He's like 25 years old, and he just is still acting like a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we could kind of say that about a lot of people right now today.
Well, it's a fun, dark, like you can make a really dark human mind analysis in that whole time period. You just make like a 2-hour movie of just this guy, just like this homeless guy who's just out of place in the world.
Wow. Yeah, I guess you could. Just like making forts behind Denny's. This is my castle.
Oh, God.
The Denny's. Oh, it's my castle.
I tried thinking of a few other things. I tried to look into more TV as well. And really all I could hit with TV was Joffrey, like from Game of Thrones. What if Joffrey actually didn't get poisoned? What would Westeros have become? Because that's a character, just like you were saying. He's pretty much Max. He's a kid who's going to grow up and just stay that age because nobody's telling him no. Nobody's telling him what to do. He's just going to be a grown 9-year-old who looks at the world like it's a big game and like, okay, well, I don't like this town over here. Let's burn it to the ground. Let's take everything and whatever. So imagine if Joffrey is actually Max. I'm digging this now.
Well, yeah, if he did that and started burning cities, then maybe the White Walkers would have actually made it to the Red Keep, and that would have been a more interesting finale.
Man. And then Daenerys has to come in to save Westeros.
Exactly.
Oh my God, we're doing it again. We're rewriting it way better.
Anyone can. But that's,
But
no,
I don't think I can rewriting it back in season 4 though.
That's true. We are going further back in time, not just rewriting.
Like it's really easy to rewrite season 8.
Yeah, that's true.
Because season 3 and 4 are amazing. So to go and rewrite it, because Joffrey, they didn't fully play out. Like we know that he's like sadistic and all that kind of stuff, and he's just But it would still make a different Game of Thrones for all the following seasons, because then there's a one main adversary, because they kind of split it up so no one's like the main adversary, and this is what happened at the end where they're like, well, we got to come up with another adversary, and that was stupid.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I could have taken 8 seasons of Joffrey though.
No.
That would have been really tough. That would have been really tough to watch.
No, he's a good villain, though.
It would have turned into... No, he's a great villain, but it would have turned into the same thing with Walking Dead. Like, look at Negan. Like, Negan had a gun pointed straight at his face, but all of a sudden the baseball bat got in the way of a bullet that was shot right at his head. And again, Negan gets away. Negan got away so much that it made me stop watching Walking Dead. Like... If Joffrey was to make it 8 seasons, it would have turned into the same thing where I'm just like, he's getting away again. I don't care anymore. So I maybe it is better what Walking Dead, or not Walking Dead, but what Game of Thrones did. But I do like what we kind of just came up with.
No, it definitely it changes the course of a lot of our main characters as well, the journeys that they go on.
Cersei doesn't do anything.
yeah, she won't really do anything except for get drunk in her tower.
Oh, doesn't that sound awesome? I mean, what?
What? And then all the other, houses and lords in the nation would have to come together.
I would
Rather
like
be
to
separated. I don't know.
apologize. There's a helicopter circling over my house right now. Hopefully everything's
What
okay.
did you do?
I don't know. My neighborhood app hasn't been blowing up, so I'm guessing nothing too bad is happening.
Okay. All right.
Anyways,
Warner Brothers is coming about you talking about their IPs. First Wizard
That's
of Oz
right.
and now Game of Thrones.
And they already lost Nolan today, so they're mad. Just saying.
man, what if the Monstars won the basketball game?
Oh boy.
WB gets to take off.
Please don't mention that film. Please don't.
If you want to listen to a recap of our Space Jam episode, go back to crossthestreamsmedia.com, where you can find all of our episodes.
WB, the real villain.
The WB.
Oh boy.
Remember
they kind of have
Michigan J Frog? So
Mhm.
good.
I do.
Well, speaking of Looney Tunes,
Ooh.
like, I want to end the episode, but I did think of this one. What happens
what
if
is it?
Wile E. Coyote catches Roadrunner?
what'd he
Exactly
do?
what happened. Exactly
Just
what
eat 'em.
happens on Family Guy.
Oh, what
He
happens
catch-
to Family Guy?
Oh, really? You guys haven't seen this? So Wile E. Coyote catches Roadrunner.
Okay.
He prepares this gorgeous meal, and he prepares the bird. And he prepares.
Oh, he's gonna cook him. Okay.
Using the bird, and it comes out looking like a big turkey. And he takes it. He cuts it up real nice, and he takes a bite, and he doesn't like how it tastes. So he goes over to the trash can and dumps it all into the trash
Oh
can.
my god. Okay. All right.
That's
It must have been
brilliant.
funnier if you watched it, I guess. But
Oh
all
my
right.
god, it's so funny. I
I'm
think
sure.
that's what's hilarious.
Okay.
So there you go, Wile E. Coyote.
That's what happened. Sorry, you had to ask. There's
No,
your
but
answer.
it's more after that because we find out that Wile E. Coyote is actually relatively intelligent, and now his purpose in life is gone. And so, what does he do?
Intelligence. Yeah. Does he
'Cause-
actually do things for good?
Knowing, like a coyote without basic human understanding of life and existential crisis and all that, it's fine. You go on to the next meal. But if you have that intelligence and that self-awareness of your existence, and now your one purpose in life is gone, even to your point, say that Roadrunner actually tastes nasty. So now he has no desire to ever get another Roadrunner, and he has all this Acme stuff, and he's designed all this stuff, and he's like an inventor, but now he has no purpose, no reason to invent. That's another episode or series that could take on a dark twist of human understanding and existence and where we are in the world and everything.
Stuff. Oh, I love it. That's stuff I like.
These shows write themselves. Instead,
Really
we get
do.
Space Jam and New Legacy.
Oh my god, isn't it brilliant? Anyways, I think we can end this one.
This episode was about as good as episode 6 of What If, but let us know. Is this your favorite episode? Let us know. Hopefully episode 7. Yeah, there's that voicemail feature. Are we totally wrong? Was episode 6 the best thing Marvel's done? Or was this more Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Who knows? It's up to you to decide. But until we tell you that episode 7 sucks next week, we hope you enjoyed and we'll talk to you next time.
Prog out.
Adios, y'all.